Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, I
We're-
just have a, exploded knee at the moment.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, don't do that again.
Terrible.
We only do it once at the beginning.
Okay.
I think that was a typo.
We've been doing it that way.
Not before.
All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. 5:30 PM, and it's Wednesday, November 5th. So, do we have?
November 5th?
February 5th,
What did I say?
November.
You're optimistic.
Yeah.
We're
Well, I'm way
pessimistic.
behind time,
Just
yeah.
seeing if we were paying attention.
Yeah. So anyhow, we're down to the first order of citizens' comments on matters within board's jurisdiction, and we have a 3-minute maximum. Do we have any comments from citizens? None? Okay, we will move on. Okay, the next action item is approval of the consent agenda and the minutes of January 2nd, but I don't think we received the minutes per email to us. Were they, did anybody get the minutes from the last meeting?
Yep.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
I think she did email them or
Yeah, I think she sent out the last one.
Huh,
They were with the minutes. I make a motion to accept the minutes.
and approve the consent agenda as well? Consent agenda and the minutes.
Yeah.
I second.
Got a second? All those in favor, say aye.
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 And then you are a voting member.
Aye.
Okay. All right, we're gonna move on. The next item for discussion is nominations and elections.
I'll
So
do, I'm gonna do roll call.
we have a roll call, yep. Rod, you're here, Ann's here, Beth is here, I'm here.
I don't
And-
have Ann's name.
Ann with an E, R-O-O-D.
And Mary Dale is here via Zoom.
Yes.
Okay. Now we'll go on to nominations and elections. So we need to nominate and elect our chairman, vice chair, and our secretary at this meeting. Do we have, like to open the nominations? Do you have a nomination for chairman?
I would nominate Roger chairman.
Okay, we have one nomination. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any other nominations for chairman? Do we have a motion to close the nominations?
I move.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. All righty, and now we have a nomination for vice chair. We have a nomination for the vice chair.
I would nominate Beth for vice chair.
You okay with that?
Do you have a nomination for secretary?
Don't. That's
Do
a
you,
bit of
will
a
you
problem.
nominate yourself?
For
I-
vice chair?
I'd be happy to do vice chair, because I'm
I nominate
Charitable
Rod Woodall for vice chair.
secretary.
Okay, we have a nomination for Rod for vice chair. Do we have any other nominations?
And I'll second that.
Okay. Do you have a motion to close the nomination for vice chair?
I nominate. I move.
Okay.
I second.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Congratulations, Rod.
Congratulations, Rod.
No. Okay, and now the next one is the nomination for the secretary.
Go ahead, Rod.
I would nominate Beth.
Yeah, second.
If she would take
Okay, any other nominations?
By default, I accept.
Okay. Any other
Thank you.
nominations?
Yes,
Yeah.
thanks.
Do you have a motion to close the nominations?
I move.
Okay. All those in favor of Beth for secretary, say aye.
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 Unanimous. Okay. Well, congratulations and condolences. Okay, we're gonna go into our goals and challenges and maybe goals and more of a priority session, I think.
Do you mind if I
Yes,
just squeeze
please,
in
go
real
ahead.
quick?
Yes,
Again, mostly I just want to come in and tell you guys specifically why I'm not on the board anymore, nothing against this board, I love this board, I think it's great.
but we did specifically want somebody that was on Public Works to be doing it. So, and I'm no longer on the Public Works Board. So that's the only reason, the Public Works Standing Committee, I should say. So that way, your guys' commentary, what's happening here does make a direct path into the Public Works Standing Committee for those kinds of motions and things to move forward. Obviously, Mike has a big part of that too, but we just felt like it was nice to have that tag team and that pair.
And who's part of that pair?
Ann Root.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's
so
where
Ann,
Ann's
you're on
coming from.
city,
I'm on city council.
Yep,
Ward 2.
Yep.
okay.
so I just want to make that introduction and that recognition of, I am here as a, just to say goodbye to you guys and appreciate it.
So Ann is not a new board member, she's a new staff.
I'm new.
She's a new
From
board
city
member.
council.
I'm
She's
new
a board
and
member.
new city council.
Yep,
She does have voting rights.
yeah, she has my old board seat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
Yay,
we called
Ann.
it city council.
Yeah, so it's
Council
a city
seat, okay.
council nominated board seat, but it is a voting board seat.
Okay.
So, anyway, I just want to make that point before you guys get rolling and moving and shaking. She's gonna be a great asset, and I think you guys probably all know her, and if not, you'll get to know her well, and she's been a big part of this community for a long time, and I think she's gonna bring a lot to the table. So I just wanted to personally come and say that, and not necessarily do a resignation, but more of a, I'm gonna go make dinner, and I appreciate the time spent with you guys.
Yep,
but-
thank you, Chelsea.
Yep,
Appreciate your
absolutely, and again,
involvement.
always feel free to reach out anyway, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Ann.
Sure.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to introduce Ann.
No,
We've already gone
no,
through the
not
introduction.
necessary.
So we're gonna move on to a goal-setting session, and this is a new, system I've never tried before, so you're gonna be
Can-
kind of guinea pig. Yes.
Can I ask can I butt in just because we're doing roll call and everything? So Chelsea and Ann traded out.
Right,
So, yeah, there's one of the 7 members that is a member of the council. Technically, it's a mayor appointment, but the mayor let council select and make the selection. And so Ann is in as of that meeting and taking the place formerly occupied by Chelsea.
So part of the 7 is the city council rep.
Yeah, so there's 6 that are elected, going into looking at the, ordinance. Roger and I were looking at that, so there's 7 members, 6 with another selection, plus 1 from the council.
So we're down 1.
Yes, we're down
Yes,
one
we
that
are.
we've advertised for, that was
Yep.
Madeline's position,
Yep.
that she did not re-up.
Yep. And any candidates?
I am not aware of any, but I did not specifically ask today, so.
Okay,
okay,
thank you.
are you good?
Maybe. Okay.
Okay, let's move on to sort of the goal-setting session. This is kind of a new system that I haven't used before, but I was looking for kind of a simple system that we could kind of sit down and talk about what direction we want to see our board to go into, and, you know, what kind, that would inform the advice and the recommendations that we give to Mike and to the city council. And Mike, I'd like to have you be an active participant in this, because, there could be some issues that brought up that you would really need your input on, whether it's doable, not doable, you know, things of that nature. But this is kind of a matrix system that's based on the Eisenhower decision-making metric system. If anybody's ever tried that before?
That Eisenhower?
Dwight Eisenhower developed
I
the system.
need to chill
And
your
this is,
table.
this is kind of a variation of that, and it's a way of trying to prioritize what are the most important functions or tasks that we should be concentrating on the coming year. And there's 4 quadrants. There's one that's called Do Now. There's a quadrant called Make It a Project. Quadrant says Forget for Now. And the third one is called Make It a Task, and we don't want everything to end up in the forget. Okay? And then you have an axis, you have a Y and X axis. You have it, down here on the Y axis, you have a title called Effort, and it increases as you move from, if you're looking at it from left to right, from low to high. And then the other axis is considered it's called the Impact. And that increases from low at the bottom to high. You can kind of think of the impact as being also maybe titled important, and effort could be time. But we know that not everything that is important, everything could be important, but some things have more impact than others. Effort and time don't always, correlate together, but those are often used in those areas. And I'd like to have you think about some categories. Some of the things that you might think we need to focus on this year might be capital projects, large projects. Just give you an example, tennis courts. We know it's going to be an expensive project. There might be some issues that are capital, but they're minor, and that could be buying new benches for parks. I'm just kind of throwing out examples. Then there could be a category that could be basically operation and maintenance, and that could be maybe refinishing the playground down at Lions Park. And then there's also a category that are board tasks, board responsibilities, which could be holding an Arbor Day ceremony or a Earth Day ceremony or reporting to the city council with an annual report, those kinds of items. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pass out, and I asked each one of you to take some time and before this project and review some of our documents, such as our ordinance, our comprehensive park master plan, our urban tree plan, our bylaws, those type of documents, and to think about, anywhere from about 3 to 5 tasks or goals that you would like to submit if we'd run through this process. And I hope everybody has something to write with, a pen. Everybody have a pen? What I'm going to do is I'm going to pass out a pad of these sticky notes. And we're going to go in order. And I guess for you, Mary Dell, if you want to just, obviously you're not going to have a sticky pad, but you can just do yours verbally. And so what I want you to do, one goal or task on one sticky tab. Just take a couple minutes to do that. Write down what your goals and tasks are, how many you have, preferably maybe anywhere from 3 to 5. We don't want to have too many of them because we don't want to be here all night. And then after you write it down, we're going to go in order, and you'll take your sticky pad and you'll put it right here at the axis, here at the center of the chart. And you're going to state the goal or the task, and you're going to give a sort of a brief description of it and why you think it's important. And then we're going to have, within all of that, we're going to have 30 seconds to decide where in the quadrant this one belongs. And what we'll do is we'll put it in the middle here and we'll say, does this have a high impact, for instance? If it has high impact, we'll move it up like this. Is the effort high or low? For instance, if it's a low impact, then we'll move it into that quadrant. And then at the end, we'll take a look at how we have all the tasks and everything that we offered in the session to see where they lie within the chart and within the metrics here. I'm not going to guarantee you we're going to finish this today. We might find that we'll have, an abundance of them all in one quadrant. And we may have to come back at a second meeting to then kind of do sort of a quantitative evaluation of those, come up with the priorities within those quadrants. Any questions? Everybody understand?
Good job, Roger.
Well, we'll see how it works out. If it works, it's a good job. If it doesn't work, your idea, sticky note. So take a few minutes and write down some of your goals. Again, one per sticky page. How's everybody doing? A little more time?
No, I'm awfully unprepared.
Well, that's true.
So,
You didn't get the information I sent out there, but I apologize for that. It was before you were appointed. So, how's everybody else doing? But, you know, you can piggyback too.
oh, sure, yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Mike, you want to start?
Are we doing it?
Yeah, you're gonna put it up there,
No.
at one at a time. You'll do one, and then we'll have somebody else, and we'll just kind of go round robin.
So I got the Pride Park project on here, redoing the benches, planters, lighting and slab.
Okay, so, the,
I don't know.
let's talk, talk a little about,
Tell me where to put it.
well,
we put it at the axis and then we move them around
yeah,
as we go
right
along.
there.
Is that right?
So, Pride Park, makeover of planters, benches, lighting, slab, et cetera. One of the heaviest used parks probably.
Yeah,
if not the
we've talked about it.
Yeah, we've talked about this. What does everybody think about the impact? What kind of an impact? And think about impact in terms of how would that affect our public? You know, what kind of impact it would have on the public? What kind of impact it might have on Mike's operations? Would it lessen, you know, his maintenance? Would it increase his maintenance?
So what's the difference between make it a project, make it a task?
Well, make it a project is where you have a high impact and you have also high effort. Make it a task would be a low impact, and a low effort,
Okay.
okay? But think of, make it a task would be, you would just assign to somebody. You know, you might say, Mike, just go do this. You know, refinish the bench, you know, that type of thing. It's, you know.
Well, what we're looking at is replacing everything.
Yeah, but I'm just using that as an example. So,
Sounds like a project.
Yeah.
sounds like a project. Dave?
Is that in the budget?
It is a project.
Yeah, it's a high, but it's a high impact project,
We've
or
already
would it have a high impact with the public and with operations?
Pretty
Got high
visible,
impact.
it's got a lot, yeah, let's say high.
And how about the effort? High effort?
Yeah,
Okay, so we'll put it right up here.
we're gonna do it right.
What about budget?
Well, we're not gonna be concerned about budget because we're not, a lot of these things we're gonna talk about, we're not gonna have dollar signs attached to them.
Okay,
Does that make
Not yet.
sense? Not at this point.
Okay.
Rod, would you like to go?
all right.
Read my own writing.
The first few ones are gonna be the most difficult until we kind of develop sort of like a relationship, and see how they compare with each other. Okay. The goal is a clear definition of what we can do to be the most supportive to Mike. Okay? All right?
What you need us to do.
Okay, so how can we be supportive to Mike and his operations? So, all right, so on this one, the impact is high or low, what do you think?
Medium, I don't know.
Medium?
Sure.
Get
Okay,
it for
so
now.
right about here somewhere.
Sure.
Okay, and then, the effort, does that take much time to make that determination?
Not for me.
I hope so. So we'll put it right over here, right? Does that sound okay?
Yep.
Okay, Ann, do you have anything you want to add? Beth?
Nope, that looks good to me. Coal miners ball field sprinkler analysis for repair, replacement.
Okay, I had that
I
on
got
too.
that one somewhere in here, so.
Okay, so this one, high impact or low impact?
I'm gonna put this one with it, 'cause it's coal miners too.
Okay,
Two birds with one stone.
What does yours say?
park
Just
upgrade,
continue what we're doing up there with,
Oh,
okay,
grading.
with the site plan with that circle.
circle on that.
Oh,
I had that on there
With-
too.
With the baseball guys, improvement.
so here's my notes on this. we've kicked this can down the road a lot of years. I think that it's my understanding that the soils are crap, the sprinklers don't work, and I'm not saying to do it, but I'm saying that we should probably get a good idea about what's involved in it by either, Mike, I don't know, getting somebody to go in there and assess it, or I don't know if it's a public works job or
Which
we,
sprinklers, are you talking about the soccer one or the baseball one?
no, I'm talking about baseball, ball
Baseball,
field, I
yeah.
know, ball fields, baseball.
Okay.
The program is ramping up, it's got renewed interest, and they've put a lot of hours and time, and so has Public Works, into making the park down there nicer. I think that's gonna be a to-do item that keeps revolving, but I do think that the grass is a challenge.
Mhm.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say it has a fairly high impact
Yes,
I think so.
in terms of the services that the department would provide?
yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
they're trying to transform the baseball field into a place where people will come have tournaments and, you know, nice fields.
right, so we know it's gonna be up here,
Yeah,
And-
have impact.
and the effort is gonna be significant, isn't it?
Mhm.
So over here,
Probably hanging out with the other one.
okay. All right, Mary Dell, do you have one you wanna offer? I can write it down on for you.
A primary goal for the Parks Board.
Okay,
One of mine was, uniform signage,
okay,
but not, taking down the unique signage that's already at, like, Lions Park and Finn Park, but just, you know, so people know that it is a city park for Red Lodge. And I don't know what those signs would look like, but we could entertain some designs and see what we think we could recommend to the city council to going forward.
So I think the city spent a lot of money coming up with a design years ago for signage,
The wayfinder.
the wayfinders, and so I think the design would go along with that. I mean, it could easily be
Okay.
used.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
you would compliment those signs?
I think so. I mean, why would we want to redesign?
I think that's a task.
You think this is a task?
Yeah,
Okay, is it a high impact or low impact?
it's a task, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
It's medium.
Medium.
medium impact, so task over here?
Sure.
At the top of the square.
Yeah.
Related to that, Mary Dell, does that also include the addressing part of those parks too, or is that a separate item? To get a special?
I also thought we should do the addressing, yes. I
Well,
think
let's
that's
go ahead and put
important.
that down.
So you just took two off my list.
That's good.
Yeah.
My list too. Okay, so I have park and facility addresses. And, it's been, one that's been talked about, that sounds like it's a task, isn't it? I mean,
Mhm.
there should be assigned to somebody to do that, right? I mean,
Yeah,
That's really important. If someone gets injured in one of the parks and they call 911 and there's no address, I don't know. I think that,
Right. No, the upper right, I think
you think it's,
it's gonna be a task, but to the point that somebody's making, it may not seem like an impact now until somebody falls and splits their head or has a heart attack and they don't know how to call them to get there.
Right.
But is
so
it high
do now
effort?
up here, high impact, high
Well, it's gonna take a level of effort too, so that's the,
project. It's high
The last
impact,
time I spoke to Tom, he said it's like, oh, he
we
said
just need to get them a list
can
of
do
the
it,
specific
right.
ones we want.
Yeah, sounded like it was
so it doesn't sound
not,
like it's a huge effort then, does it?
Can we put it in the do now?
Okay,
I think we should.
okay. All right. I had coal miners baseball irrigation, so we'll need to do that. Coal miners landscape this circle, we don't have to worry about that one. Okay, I have one that's the Rocky Fork Eagles Nest project. I think we should be involved, wanna make sure our
Definitely be
can be involved.
in the project, but that's also two separate projects, to be clear. One of them
Okay.
we own, one of them is still a pipe dream, we're still working on it, but
Should we just make it Rocky Fork at this point, do you think?
What are you
Probably,
talking
yeah.
about? I haven't heard about this.
What,
What's
Eagles
your-
Nest?
Pardon?
Just,
What
The
is
house,
it?
whose house is?
Oh, so Rocky
Oh.
Forks is the old Bastion property, and
yeah.
the Eagle's Nest is what's next to it, but we have not acquired
oh,
Eagles.
right, okay, right.
So my impression is that that's a project, it's gonna be probably a high impact in a lot of ways, but it's probably gonna be a fairly high effort too, right? Large effort. Does that
Right.
sound about- Okay,
I would agree with that, yes.
okay.
One of the things that I may offer, Roger, is a lot of times, I don't know if you have your pen that's there, in this graph, they'll change it so, and they have an urgent and importance, but like, that upper left, they would have do, the upper right, they would say plan,
Right,
the lower right is delegate, and then our lower left is delegate, and lower right is, why are you wasting your time on this?
exactly.
Stop doing it.
And
So
that's,
those key words might help you kind of think, is it, do we do it? Do we plan? Delegate it?
So what's the likelihood that we're gonna be doing anything with Rocky Fork Eagles Nest in 2025? For us,
Well,
the
probably-
city's gonna have work, but what's the
it could be,
likelihood that the Parks Board's gonna do anything?
there could be some planning, right?
There could be some design elements
Mm-hmm.
in, only for Rocky Fork, not for,
Yeah.
Eagles.
Eagles Nest.
We have a budget amendment, we have been told. I expect a response on that within
Can you take
30
Eagles
days.
Nest off there?
Yeah, I did, I scratched off.
Okay.
And on the day after that, we will have a backhoe in there. So,
A backhoe, great.
we had one in there before, and they said, stop.
Yeah, okay, so we started with Mike, Mike's your turn again.
The skate park in, Boundary, kind of on the east side where we talked about, and then,
The slope,
yeah, just trying to define where the skate park ends and where the private property starts, and, kind of take care of that sand edge before it erodes out and, becomes a problem.
okay, what is the impact? Is that a high, medium, or low? Would you say?
It's a high,
Mhm.
to me, it's high impact because there's a lot invested there, and having that, it needs to be finished along that edge,
Okay.
to maintain the investment.
You're
And
talking
then,
about the east side? Yeah.
Where the parking lot is.
I walk by there every night with my dog, and I think it needs to be taken care of nicely. The picnic table and take the weeds, beautification is probably the wrong word, but
know what you mean.
I walk by there a lot, and weeds and a picnic table, something to, spruce it up a little bit would be great.
I think what we're talking about is a boundary, because it's not our property.
Whose
It's
property?
the city.
I've talked to the guy, he's willing, I think, to let us
Oh,
build
and put
like a
picnic
rock
tables
wall
in there?
there.
Well, you can put it on the
No.
grass, I've looked at that guy's.
You're talking
land.
about a
He lives
retaining
in
wall?
Billings.
Yeah, just like a little wall, we're basically where the AstroTurf stops
Yeah,
is the property line. And that's up on the slope. And so, basically, we come in there, kind of what I think Jim had before I got here planned was to remove that and then put some of those big square rocks like around the Red Lodge bank there and kind of follow the contour, just to give
Yeah.
a defining place so that people aren't pulling their cars up there, backing trucks up and sitting, they can still do that, but they're not
on the slope,
on the slope.
and not causing erosion or
Yeah.
degradation to that slope.
And just,
So wait, are we off Rocky Fork now and on to the skate park?
Skate park.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, sorry, okay.
So I know that Madeline had a lot of concern about anything hard being put there that kids are gonna smack into, I know.
They're surrounded by hard, they're gonna smack into, it's all concrete.
Yeah, and if it blends in, I guess it's not sticking up, like it's something to impale yourself
Yeah.
on,
And I
like
think,
fence posts and so forth that we talked about at one point.
I think the rumor I heard was that somebody who helped with it, funded or something, said there would never be a fence there.
So,
The Hawk guy
that's the Hawk guy, yeah. He
that was one of his-
he doesn't propose fencing skate parks.
So anyhow, so how about, we know the impact, you think the impact is moderate to high, right?
Yeah,
And how about the effort? Is it gonna be a big job?
I
Is
mean,
it take a lot of time?
it's gonna take some time and money, but medium, I'd say. in
Okay.
the Grand scheme of things.
So does that make it a project?
I think,
Or is it ready to
I
go?
think it kind of is a project. It was a project before I got here. It
Okay.
just hasn't
Yeah,
hasn't got rolling.
we haven't, the teeth aren't in it.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree.
Right in here?
Sure.
Okay, Rod?
You already covered the addresses. I think that's a big deal. I'd like to see us advance, some more help for the tennis and pickleball people, for getting these courts replaced as quickly
Okay.
as possible.
Okay.
Have
Rod, bring that up.
they come forward with any kind of plan to get a committee going?
They got a committee going.
They have a
But they're not
committee
ready.
going, but, they weren't ready for it tonight. But they did
They want-
think next.
They
next
wanna be on
month.
the agenda for March.
Yeah.
And they've, well, you sat in that plan too, the mayor did.
They did, but, so it's set up for next week at 2. We didn't catch that it was on Wednesday, so I believe last I heard it's gonna be at Sam's Tap Room
Yeah,
as opposed to here. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Makes sense.
Um,
In addition to that, there's also movement afoot from the the hockey people. They're looking for space, put a rink. And that brings us to, we need a master plan for all of this.
well, okay,
Wait,
And that's kind
so-
of like one and.
wait, let's take one at a time here though.
so is there any way we can, could we rename the Forget for Now? Is that like a suspend
Yeah,
until further, because I feel like we've already made it pretty clear that, and tennis people have accepted the responsibility, as far as I know, to provide fundraising and handle it like a pool project, at least that's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Oh, you're saying it doesn't involve this group at this time?
well, it does, but and it doesn't really kick a can, but it's dependent on user group, momentum.
Well, let's think about how he worded this. He says, help tennis, pickleball, advance court replacement as quickly as possible. So I don't think we're saying get it done right now, but to help them get the process
Yeah.
going. Similar to, so it'd be modeled, they're talking about modeled a little bit after the pool. Knowing that this is gonna be a big project, expensive project, it's gonna take some time because they're also gonna have to find a site, more likely. And, I would say it's probably a project that's gonna be, you know, it has the potential to have a high impact,
So
but
what-
it's gonna be a lot of effort. It's gonna be a long-term project.
Should this be a 2025 chart?
This is 2025 chart.
Okay,
This is 2025.
all right.
Yep.
So
Before
if
July
if
1?
I'm hearing you correct, so what you're, well, I'm thinking, unfortunately, not necessarily fiscal year, I'm thinking the season, so I'm thinking
Yeah.
calendar 2025.
Okay,
Yeah.
So going back to, and I'll borrow Rocky Fork as an example, is that gonna be, is this body's involvement this year, or is it gonna be, we're putting it down and we know we may be called up to pick that up in the future?
right.
And that may
Exactly.
actually,
Like-
See,
Like, we have projects we know that we've been talking about, but they're not Forget for Now, but
No.
they're they're agency dependent and, or some sort of user group dependency that's not us as
What-
the forefront.
What this really means is,
right?
forget now doesn't mean the project doesn't have any merit, we're not gonna do it. It means we're not ready to do it now. And
We're
that,
not allocating resources.
we're not gonna
time,
allocate resources until the time comes that you can do that. And I think what, Rod, tell me if I'm wrong, what you're saying is, we're not expecting to spend any money on this at this point,
Right,
but we wanna help them,
wherever we can.
Wherever we
We don't know
can.
what that is.
because it is it is a pressing need. The tennis courts are in terrible shape. We have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. So the sooner the better.
So maybe it should be written as tennis court interface, Parks Board interface on the tennis courts, and we make it a project. Right? It's, we know
would
it's
be
a project for us, but we have an interface role right now until it becomes different. Would you agree, Mike?
Yeah, I think for the last 3 Parks Board meetings, we've talked about this, and every time the next meeting, they were gonna come talk to us, and we've said, we've made the suggestion, they model it after how the school committee was and how that worked for fundraising. And they need to show up,
Yeah, yeah.
so.
Yes, Mayor.
I might recommend, as I'm listening to Madeline's, Beth, thank you. I knew that wasn't right. I think that Rocky
Don't
Fork
forget her
probably
now.
belongs down in that lower right corner too.
Okay.
On almost a projects for later sort of a thing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. It's, we're not
Yeah,
getting rid of it,
And let me
It
ask
does
a
have
question.
merit,
Yeah.
right?
So in my mind, if I think of the Rocky Fork property, if at the end of this year that has been leveled and overseeded with native grasses, so that we now have a canvas to work with, is anybody gonna scream about that, or?
Well,
No.
yeah, good point. But, at some point, using both these as examples, at some point, there's gonna have to be some type of plan drawn up on how you're gonna do that. Is that gonna happen? Are we gonna be at that stage in 2025 for either one of these projects? Do we think?
I would argue that until, for some reason, the quote that's coming into my mind right now is Dr. Laura talking about engagement. When you've got a ring and a date, then it's an engagement. When we've got a date, then it's a project. Until we have a date, it's down there in the abstract, it's on our to-do list.
Yeah.
So why don't we put them down here?
I think Rocky Fork could go down there. We know it's
Not,
coming.
not ready for 2025?
Yeah, and things are subject to change. If a date comes up and makes it concrete, then we say we're taking it out.
Yeah.
Is it a project, do it now or delegate it? But until there's realness around, almost an abstract, I think it is by definition almost in that lower corner.
Let's just put them in here, both of them.
What's the
And
other?
are we going to have a uniform park, sign there?
What else are you putting down there?
Well, what I have down here, let me know if this is what we're talking about. I've got Rocky Fork planning. Okay. And I have basically the interface in help, in assisting the tennis and pickle court people. Both of them in the not for now.
No, I think the interface is now,
You think
and
this
the
is now?
project is not ready 2025. But I think if we're talking about what the board can do, the interface is a project. If we
Okay.
want to get them in here, because you know what's going to happen, it's all going to heat up again in June when they can play.
Right,
Right, so the impact.
absolutely.
Project for Park Board currently.
Okay. So how about if we make it a task?
Okay,
We got this disembodied voice here behind me.
that was Mary Dell saying, okay.
Okay, so is the impact is what?
it's a test.
Right now, the impact is gonna be low, isn't it? Until we get something
Until the
concrete.
snow goes, yeah, as Beth was saying.
Okay. And, yes,
I'm gonna say something, this is, maybe y'all talked about this, but this is kind of nitpicky, but just forget for now. I don't like that wording.
okay,
We already got rid of it, not ready 2025.
Oh, then
Yeah.
let's scratch it out, because if some pickleballer walks in here and says, reads, forget for now, you know, they're not gonna be happy.
Right. I think you go in the do now or make it a task over there, Roger. I don't think it matters. We're gonna interface with them,
I
and we're
think,
gonna do it as soon as they come in here.
yeah, I don't think it belongs over here because we've
No.
already had conversations with them.
Yep.
We've already met with them, so I think it's over here. And I think right now, the impact, the effort for us right now is fairly low. We're just meeting and talking.
Until next month.
And, yeah,
And Mary Dell had asked the question about the park signs, because there's no date, but I think to use her example as an example, the question is, do we want to put any effort on it now, or are we not worrying about it for 25? If it's a yes, we're gonna do it this year, then it's where those other three quadrants does it go? So because we hadn't assigned a date, she was saying, does that mean it's not ready? Well, no, there's no outside dependencies that we're waiting on, which there is in those other two cases.
where do we have park signs at? Got skate park.
Well,
we
for
got-
for
Yeah.
Rocky Fork, there would be no sign or nothing.
Well, because it's not
We
really park yet.
Well, it's not a park yet, so
Well, no.
but you're talking about putting uniform signs in existing parks, right, Mary Dell?
Yes, and also in the new park.
Well, yeah, but,
That's leaving the unique signs that are already there, but, you know, so we would have a park sign that said, you know, City of Red Lodge, City Park. And
Right.
this is its name.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
and I'm happy for us to use the same design that we're using for other wayfinding signs. I think that's a great, it's very effective.
We made it a
but I think-
project. It is.
okay. You agree on that one?
Yeah.
Let's not backtrack.
I wish I was there.
Wait, Andy, you have anything you want to add?
Mm-mm.
Beth?
Nope.
Mary Dell, you're up.
Oh, so for specific parks, are we onto that now, or?
Yeah, you can just, whatever you have as a goal or a task that you think we ought to be.
Okay, so, you know, the signage and the, addresses were overall goals, and then, for the parks that I'm a steward for, which is Van Dyke, my main goal is, weed control and elimination.
Here.
Van Dyke is,
I've already got it.
very
Okay.
weedy, mainly with spotted knapweed and cheatgrass, which is not throughout at this point. If we can cheatgrass, if we can control it, but the knapweed is quickly getting out of control, and if the city parks can't show neighbors that they're controlling weeds, then, you know, what do we do? So that's my main goal for Van Dyke, is weed control and elimination. And then for maintenance, the benches in the park need to be refinished.
Okay,
The
okay, wait a minute.
sign needs,
Hey, Mary Dell, hold
Sorry.
that thought. Let's tackle the
Okay.
weed one first, okay?
okay,
So what Beth wrote down was comprehensive weed strategy, Van Dyke Park. Does that sound?
yes.
That, okay?
That sounds good. I would
Okay, then-
like to recommend to the city that they consider the goats from Roberts
Okay.
compared to, you know, spraying an herbicide we are a bee city and we're supposed to be not using chemicals if we don't have to. So I would like to see us compare the two options, and see what works better. And I also think that, it's going to take several years, several applications to actually control the weeds in the park. It won't just be 1 year and we're done. I don't think that's going to work. So, recommend to the city council.
What you're talking about is a continuing, probably annual, maintenance item.
Yes,
Okay.
at least 3 years. We could evaluate at the end of 3 years and see where we are, with the weeds. But, they do spread off of private property and back and forth. And I think the city needs to be showing a goodwill effort, to control the weeds, if we can.
So I'm gonna make a suggestion here on where to place it in the matrix, is that I would say the impact is probably medium, on the scale of how it would impact the users and the public, but
Right.
that the effort is probably low, in that I'm thinking it's really a staff thing. So it should be a task. So I'm thinking it should be right in the medium to low impact and probably a minor effort.
It's something we'll put on, with the task, we'll just.
Yeah, it's a task, just do it. Yeah.
Something like-
Pardon me?
What is
Where the observatory is.
Where the observatory is?
I didn't know.
Does that sound about right, Raydell?
I'm
Like-
sorry, what was that?
Is that about right, sign it for task, to just get it done? Ask them to
Well,
get it-
I don't think, it's not gonna be a one and done thing.
No, but on a
Well, that's why I said comprehensive, because I
If
think.
it's comprehensive, yet means we're gonna have to deal with it either annually or for, a certain amount of time before we really get control of the weeds.
Exactly,
It's an
yes,
O&M, it's
Yeah.
an O&M issue. Okay, all right?
yes.
Now, what else did you have with Van Dyke Park while we have you?
Just some maintenance. The benches need to be refinished, and the interpretive sign needs a new cover. I don't know how to say that. It's sort of cracked. And then I would like to add one new bench, because it is a large park, over by the ditches on the west side. So those are my goals for Van Dyke Park. And a sign, of course, which it does not have one.
Right. Well, we have signs on here as well, so I'm gonna guess that's probably, again, a task of operation and maintenance, and it should be
Yes.
delegated.
Exactly. Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. See if
Thank
I have anything that's not in there. Mike, I want kind of your opinion on this one. I put down, including in the budget, a seasonal labor position for your department. Do you see that as a need? If you don't think it's a need, won't put it on there.
I don't.
How is that different from Willie?
Based on last summer, I don't
But he's not seasonal, is he?
know.
Well, he has different tasks depending on the season.
Well, no, I know,
In
but
the summer, he's pretty much full-time parks,
Yeah.
so, and I don't feel like we gain much by trying to have another person.
Okay, but I won't include it. Okay,
Can I say something about the goats?
yeah,
Just, I may not be well-spoken about this, but what about, I forgot the goat herder's first name, but I'll get the. Ivan, how about talking to
Ivan.
Ivan about getting a bid on how much it would cost to have goats out there for a couple of years?
That's why we put it out as a task, and that's why staff, or Mike and staff will handle that.
Well, I was short of
I
that.
just wanna say one thing, in Shoto, I did that for
Goats?
3 years.
It works.
And when the goats came off, it looked great. And then then the weeds came back, and the goats tore the ground up pretty bad, running around doing their thing. And I think we had more. We did it for 3 years, and finally I quit. And I'm pretty sure the weed patch was worse.
I
But I don't know whether
would,
we could
I
put
would
them in
get a
there
second
too long.
opinion.
We were
So,
going after,
can I-
we were going after leafy spurs. It was a different.
Rod and I can speak very succinctly about
Knapweed.
that park. So we went up there, we were gonna have a whole bunch of people, and we were just gonna pull like crazy and dig, and we thought, oh, we're gonna make a major dent. And Rod and I were up there for an hour and a half, and we cleared about that much. And I'm not kidding, because it gets in under the sagebrush, it's impossible. Goats won't remediate, the cheatgrass. Cheatgrass is, fortunately, you have to kill it. And you then have to keep going at it. But.
Exactly, yes.
It can happen places, but there are places up there that are gonna need to be more aggressive, in my opinion. It may
Well-
need some spray in certain areas, and it may need goats in other areas. But that
We
corner
have to,
at the entrance is ferocious.
Like I said,
I think we also have to remember that we are a bee city, and we are tasked with not using herbicides unless we have to, because they affect so many other plants and insects, when you spray them in a widespread way. And in Van Dyke Park, it's, that hillside going down toward town is, covered in the summer with knapweed. And, I don't know how you could do it any other way except a broad, spray of herbicide. And, I just don't want to do that.
Well, I've actually had experience with both goats and sheep in similar type situations, and had pretty good success with it. A lot of it depends on your contractor, like any other project, and how they manage their herds, and so I think maybe the idea is, you brought up Bee City, what they really want us to do is to look at integrated pest management, right? So there's
Right.
You can use physical methods, polling, you can use chemicals, and you can use biological, and that could be insects or or goats or sheep. And I think maybe the idea is maybe to explore integrated pest management in that location to try to get effective weed control.
Yeah, I just like us to look at the options.
Solve all the world's.
Yeah, I think Mary Dell is right on
Good
about
point.
that, is we have the task down to put a plan together, which is gonna mean looking at some options. We don't need to know what the plan is tonight or what those options are tonight, but we've documented
Exactly.
that we need to do it.
Yes, it
Who
needs
is,
to be done.
sir, is that you talking?
Yes, it's me. I'm sorry I joined late, and I'm not sure if it says my name or not, but hello.
Well, good. Anyhow, I think that point is, I think we are, your point and the mayor's
You,
point.
Sarah?
Well taken.
It
Let's
is.
not try to,
Right,
let's not try to solve the problem right
that's
now.
what the
Let's
word
just talk about,
comprehensive does, is you look at options, and
Yeah.
I think there's a blend.
and I think we're in the right place. I mean, we're just asking
Yeah.
staff to take a look at other options for weed
I
control.
think we're fortunate that we have goats as an option.
I have one, but I don't know if it's a park or a, city. So we were very intent in 2023 to publicly advertise bear safety options, and we had in our notes that we were gonna put 25 signs around the city. But we didn't
Oh.
have a problem like what happened up in,
By the camping.
yeah, no, not here. What was the little town up in,
Oh, man.
yeah. So, basically, we had, Dan McHugh come in, so I don't know if anybody was here. None of you were here when this happened. So,
No.
Jack up there?
yeah, but he, basically, we were gonna have signs put throughout town. So it was not even really just a park thing. At first, it was coal miners, how to have signs there, but he's very adamant that, and it may be that Dan McHugh and Mike can talk, and so we put it as a to-do or do now or a task. But, I know that Amy Hoy and he talked, and it was like to put these signs, so you basically let people know, and they have signs, so the design's already done,
Or what?
that this is a bear community,
Okay,
so that people don't think you can sleep, in Lions Park and not be concerned that there's bear in town. With a sandwich.
If we put that on the Public Health and Safety Standing Committee, is that a good place for it? To let them?
I think that's awesome.
I think,
Yep.
what about, cause there's supposed to be, have a bear committee.
Yeah.
Sounds like a bear committee.
And we have a city designee on it, they've just never reached out to him, other than to get his name.
I think there's a bear committee in the works. It's
Okay.
like a community-based committee that Dan's trying to organize.
Okay,
And I think that
all right,
the
so,
signs
good.
probably
I love it when we don't
Well-
have to put stickies up there.
and that could be a delegate to that
Well,
committee too, but,
honestly, I think it's a citywide thing, but.
okay,
Well, I think it will.
It is, and it's important.
yeah.
It is important.
I think that, with Mike and the Bear Committee and then Public Health and Safety is where we take it up, and
Okay.
it's kind of like if somebody said, we needed to put in, I'm trying to think of something that's very definitely not a park. Somebody wanted to come up with a fireworks ordinance.
Yeah.
This isn't the right field for that.
Okay. All right. Are you okay with that?
Yeah,
As long as you know somebody
yeah, because
can be addressing
I
it?
think his opinion is you get out and pump gas at Cenex, you need to know that there's bear in the area.
Yeah.
It's not-
You're right.
Red
Yeah.
Lodge is a bear town, and people need to be warned that it's
Okay.
all over.
All right,
Well, I'm on public health.
Thank
and
you,
safety,
Beth. That's
so,
great.
I
yeah,
will talk to Jody about that.
we got a link there. I've got one that's, to review the comprehensive parks plan. I've read through that plan, it's very involved. I have, the plan, I think, was completed in 2015 and there's a lot of things hanging out there of, what is a park, what isn't a park, what's a dedicated park, what aren't dedicated parks. Seems to me there's, goals and, policies that probably maybe have not been addressed since that plan was put together. I think it'd be healthy to maybe have a subcommittee within our group take a look at that plan and come back with some recommendations for an evaluation of maybe where we're at with the plan.
That's what I got.
You have that too? And I suggested it would be, make it a task
all my
and
stuff
assign
on
it
it,
to a
if you want.
subcommittee. Is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I would sit on that committee.
Okay. You're the chair of the committee.
Okay.
Oh,
I had I can't read a 72-page document online. I need it on paper, and I just wondered if the city might have copies of some of the documents that you attached, Roger, to our email, which were great and necessary. But I just, I need them on paper. I'm older, and I like to see words on paper and not digitally.
If you wanna make that request, when Roger sends that out, if you wanna reach out to city staff and make that request, we can accommodate that here.
Okay, great,
Thank you, Dave.
all right.
I'm not writing down as an action item on mine, I'm just telling you, if you need it, please reach out and they will.
Yep,
I
we'll do
will
that.
stop in and ask for it.
It is easier to read the document, I think, than trying to read those online, but any other, task goals, projects?
I read the report from Fish and Wildlife about that bear killing up there. It's very interesting. If I can find it again, I'll make copies.
Okay.
And Jaquith, who grew up here, he was the inspector for Fish and Wildlife, and, Sierra's in town. It'd be interesting to talk to him about it, but I will try to find that report.
Okay,
It was fascinating. Gross.
Thank you.
Rod, do you have anything? Mike? Beth?
I'm just gonna make a general comment. Hats off to the city because we, the last couple of years, have made these lists, in Parks Board, some before you, many of you were on the Parks Board. And, I'm looking at them, and a lot of them have been accomplished.
Good.
And I find that, really optimistic, and I take hats off to, Mike for a lot of that, but also the previous Parks Board members, were just really diligent about not just talking about stuff, but trying to get stuff done. So hats off to all of them.
Well, kudos to you guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've sat in these meetings for years and years, but I'm new to the board. But yeah, there was just a lot of work done by them, and I think it's good. I mean, when you actually have a list of things that were asked of Public Works and, you know, there's like checks on the list, it's great.
Completion checks.
Yeah, so we can keep going. I just wanted to say
Okay,
that.
Mary Dillon, anything else?
I think that's everything from me.
Sarah, how about you?
I have two things, for the dog park specifically, we've had on our list for a while to add another, bag dispenser on the other side of the park. So low effort, medium impact could be done this year. And then, I would really, I know I bring this up a lot, but I'd really like to see us put sort of a plan or, some sort of user guide together for the park cleanup / like block party or Earth Day, or decide, you know, how big we want to go. Do we just want to plan to at least have one park cleanup day each year, but put some sort of like playbook together that we can sort of just run every year, a similar date, you know, similar items needed, you know, similar way we're recruiting volunteers, similar way we're assigning people to parks, just to get it all documented. I know we had some in the past, but yeah, so we could, you know, not let that creep up on us, but also be really diligent about getting that in every year. And I know we've really fought with weather in the last few years, trying to do it, you know, that April date. We still seem to have snow some of those years, so maybe we reassess, you know, what that looks like. And then again, do we want to incorporate the block party back at Lions Park afterwards, or something similar? Yeah.
Okay, so the very first one, I got dog park, but what were you looking at dog park?
Just another poop bag dispenser on the other side, just somewhere else
Okay.
in the dog park.
To encourage, people to pick up poop.
What's that, task? How about do now? Do now?
Way out, just put it on.
Weather dependent, do not, yeah.
Put it on our, we'll do it this spring.
Okay, and then the
Sarah,
other one,
you're very prescient
Yeah.
about what you're saying for, Arbor Day, Earth Day, park cleanup. We would like to move ahead with something, more specific for sure. So.
Yeah. And I don't know that it makes sense, given how Arbor Day played out last year and the fact that we're pursuing, I don't know that it makes sense to partner those two together, unless it happens to fall on that same day or week, but, because that could be a heavy lift, and again, if we're trying to ever again recruit volunteers for tree planting or something related to Arbor Day, but also try to get them, recruited for the same day for park cleanup. But yeah, a few of those ideas just documented and worked out, I guess.
Actually, I
Yes.
was thinking of putting that on as an agenda item for March's meeting.
Yes.
I love it.
To talk, so I'm gonna
So
go.
put it in the do now corner
Yep,
then.
I'm gonna put it in the do now. So what I have is an annual park cleanup project.
Arbor Day, yeah,
And
et cetera.
I have Arbor Day / Earth Day. We can make a decision.
Earth
how
Day,
we-
yep, yep.
Okay, all right? Okay, anything else from anybody else?
I don't know what happened to this, and
Your
it
economy.
doesn't have a sticky anymore. I'm trying to make them smaller. The administration of Bee City, we do not have anybody currently. We were gonna try to add somebody to the board that might have interest in it,
Okay,
but I don't think we're any more down the road than we were when we determined 3 months ago that we're negligent. Yeah, I think it's a do now. We've got to, or delegate, we've got to figure out what's up with that Bee City.
I'd be interested.
You would be? Oh,
I've got bees.
yeah,
awesome.
well, be careful what you volunteer for.
Be careful.
I will go back, we had, but I've got.
Yeah, we had to get the
Martha to
password.
Follow up, yeah. We were trying to get the password, and I think what we got was that we're gonna have to do a password reset, and I got the information, just didn't do it, so we can blame me for that one if you want.
Okay, we'll blame you.
But I'll delegate Rod, and then it'll get taken care of.
Okay.
And if it doesn't. we can
Awesome. All right.
I do know that Mike, but Mike did get us renewed on the Tree City stuff. So,
Okay,
What a great meeting, everybody.
I'm not, I have another one.
we're not finished yet. It's just getting
Okay.
warmed up.
No, I'm starting to talk about more admin things. I think this has to go in the do, I say do now. Effort probably medium, but, we should do a 23, or
Yeah.
now a 24, 25. I think we're missing a year, but
We haven't
we're
done
supposed
the
to do a
annual
Parks
report.
Board annual report, and we haven't done it. So,
Okay.
whether we
And I think that's
say
something
that the people that we had last year didn't get it done, and we just plan to have it done for the June, the
is that for
24,
city
25.
council?
Yeah,
It's a
It's a-
requirement of our
it's-
ordinance, or,
it's an annual report that goes to city council.
yeah.
And I think maybe, Mike, that's something you and I need to sit down together. I think Maybe Courtney and the chairperson last year did.
We have some notes from previous years, so we could just, like, cut and paste from that. I was trying to find it, but,
There goes our chart. Do now. So I just want to recap a little bit on this. Kind of interesting because I thought we'd have a lot of, almost everything end up here, the do now. But it looks like quite a bit of it went to task and make it a project. What I suggest is that I'll consolidate all this and send it out to every one of you so you can have a chance to take a look at it. And then maybe in the March meeting, we can have another little discussion.
well, I'm gonna
To
take a
wrap it up.
picture for notes too, 'cause
That sounds good, Roger. Thank you.
I have a question about the Rocky Fork thing and the tennis/pickleball court. I think, that's kind of where I stepped in, and so I can't quite see the board or the flip chart, so I'm not sure exactly where we landed on it, but it sounds like we're sort of waiting, for both of those, and I'm just wondering, is there anything that we could be doing initially here, like outlining just how the Parks Board might be involved, especially with the Rocky Fork thing, regarding, I know you guys mentioned possible planning or design a little bit, but are there things that we could be doing to be ready when that time came? And then regarding the pickleball tennis court, the next step, I think, is we're trying to get them to attend a meeting and present something to us. Is that correct?
That's kind of correct. We've
Okay.
had one meeting, Rod and I and the mayor sat in a meeting
Yeah.
with the tennis court and pickleball court people. They were intending originally to have some kind of, presentation or, for this meeting. They decided they weren't ready for that. That may be delayed till, the March meeting. In the meantime, there's another meeting set up on, it's the 12th, isn't it? February 12th?
It's next.
So the ball's kind of in their court, so to speak.
Okay. I just didn't know if it was worth, we don't want it to fall off the radar, and if the time comes that we do need to get involved, just from a resource capacity, et cetera, just keeping those things more, I know we're waiting on like the next step, but we're still kind of in the project currently, I guess. I think you guys were kind of saying that too, but might be my new and too nuanced. I just don't want to lose sight of it or get something else take priority, but then all of a sudden we need to be pulled in or something, so.
Well, Sarah, I think, what you just said and what the mayor said before about Rocky Fork was, we're really kind of on hold right now, and that we have to probably, when the time comes, we can be a little flexible and move this up to maybe another quadrant. Is that correct?
Okay.
And, I'm looking for the tennis courts. I'm looking, where did we put that on here?
Do you have it down in task, delegate?
In the, now, I think, on the left-hand side.
We have B City Administration, we have Parks Board's summary, we have annual park cleanup and assistance of Mike in the Do Now. We have uniform park signage, comprehensive weed strategy for Van Dyke, benches, interpretive sign, a new bench at Van Dyke, dog park, Parks Board. Oh, yeah, we do. We have it as a task. So, and that's kind of, Rod is volunteered, I guess, to be sort of the liaison with that committee and our board. So I guess we've kind of assigned that task to him.
Okay, that sounds about right then.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Roger,
clarifying.
we have another widow, McGillen Trail upgrade.
Oh,
What do we want to do to enhance that?
oh.
Did we?
Yeah, I think that's been taken care of.
You took care of the property boundary, is it all fixed?
Oh, no, the property, I thought you were just talking about the damaged part of the trail, so.
That's what I thought, you had trail upgrade.
Oh, you mean the hairpin?
Yeah,
Oh, the asphalt was corroding.
So we fixed that and we're gonna call it good?
I think so.
There's no property boundary things that have to be fixed?
I think Nick
Okay.
was happy.
Awesome.
Well, I think, I
I
recall,
will write down
I missed that meeting.
is property boundary still an open, I know there's, boundary on McGillen Trail still outstanding.
I recall
Yeah.
we had a conversation about that, because it originally thought that the property was, part of the trail was on private property.
And, yeah, and
But
we
they
found
found
out,
out that's not the case.
that it wasn't an accurate thing, but I
Right.
do, though what I'm remembering is the neighboring property owner who wanted to do
A swap.
a little bit of an exchange and a swap, and it wasn't a factor there.
Okay.
I'll put that down as a
So,
refresh on that.
and doesn't it seem like we also need to just for categorical, kick the can down the road, put Brewery Hill in the not ready 25? It is a trail.
yes, we do. You're
I was a big
absolutely right.
proponent that was like a city thing, but it is trail and that is part
If
of
you
our.
look at the ordinance, it is,
It is city, it is parks, and it is actually one of those things that I've delegated Mike as our staff person on that, because a significant part of that is the ongoing maintenance, and we've got to be able to make sure it's in clear, so he's gonna be our contact point, so I'm not the weak link.
Okay,
Okay,
so Mike,
Okay.
keep us updated on that project, right? So we
And I
There.
think in fairness, there are parts of that are a project,
I got it.
and in the next few months, that's gonna be happening, but it's not gonna be completed this year, right?
No.
this goes in the bottom corner of that.
But it's kind of an ongoing project, I'm gonna knock
Very
that
neat.
over yet, aren't I? So are we thinking it's not ready, or is?
Not
Well, I'm
ready.
thinking there's a project in that there is stuff that needs to be done or delegated this way.
Right.
Mike will keep us appraised of how that project's going.
Mhm.
Okay.
I see that lower right quadrant is, we aren't allocating time nor resources right now
At this point,
because it's not ready for us.
right. Yep,
Okay.
doesn't mean Rocky Fork is not important, we're just not ready for it, and there's no use, like you said, assigning resources from time to it.
Or to phrase it, there's no use taking away resources from the other things that get
Exactly.
done for that one that's not ready yet.
Okay,
Okay.
so I'll send this out to everybody, you can review it, and we'll take a look at
That's,
the,
take a new picture that's updated now that it's rear-ended.
I will.
March meeting to try to maybe even prioritize within each little quadrant, yes.
I think by accident, somewhere in the middle of the conversation, you moved the addresses from due now, which was high impact, low effort, into the make it a project box. That was totally, you had two things you were talking about and one got moved. It's
Addressing.
in the make it a project box,
Okay.
So it's in the upper right, and I would almost say,
down the address, that sticky,
I'm looking right at
it
it.
belongs over there.
Okay, that belongs here.
It doesn't have to have any more discussion around it.
the only other thing I would maybe say is it a delegate, because basically what it needs, actually for you guys to do and put it on your list next time, what we need to do is get Tom a list. So I'll use an example of Coal Miners Park. One address, two addresses, so we need to get him a list of, these are the things we want addresses for, as it happens, right?
Right. Right.
So at coal
Yeah.
miners, and I talked to him, and I don't know if you agree, I don't know if we have say in it, I would just pinpoint an address in the middle of that parking lot and call it good.
Exactly.
If it were me.
Yep, that's
So
what,
you
I
don't
think
go
that
to the
was
high
your
school and you,
recommendation too, wasn't it, Tom?
yep,
Right.
So,
You don't go to
I
the baseball
Here's
field.
what I would
Yeah.
like to see you guys come to the next meeting with, is you guys come with a list of every park that's there that we need an address on, you agree on it. We turn that over to Mike. Mike works with Tom. Tom turns it around in 48 hours and said, what took you guys so long to come up with the list? And we're
Great.
done.
I think this is a city, liability issue if we don't get these addresses done.
We've got it on the
Somebody
to-do
do
list.
it. Does somebody want to take a stab at putting the first list together and then just sending it to the group via email? And we can just add?
I can do it.
Or
I'll
do that,
send you
yeah.
out a list.
Thank you.
And then
Okay.
spreadsheet, all the adopted parks is probably a good place to start. The list we've
The
got
only
online.
parks I know of,
Pardon?
the only parks I know of are from those lists, so.
it's interesting that,
I don't know
in the,
that Creekside, well, yeah, I'll put it on there, you guys could talk about it.
in one of the documents I looked at today, it didn't have Rotary, I'm losing my voice whenever you get cold weather like this, my voice gets scary. But, Rotary Park wasn't listed as a dedicated park.
Really?
And it's, by the way, I think identify or make a recommended of where you think the pinpoint is. Is that right, Tom? Like,
That'd be helpful, or I could take a stab at it.
I know that in August of '23, we also, regarding the signs, we put a list together of signs for, not only bear awareness, but other signs. For instance, like the one at the bottom of Coal Miners Hill is gotta be upgraded, it's gotta be redone. Like it shows where there's golf and that's all been redone and now Shelley Field's up there and that kind of stuff, so. But we have work that's been done, Mike, so I guess maybe check, yeah.
So let's recap here. What are we talking about bringing to March? I have possibly the tennis court committee's gonna be here. We have park addresses. We have,
Parks to be addressed.
okay, we have, annual park work day. I think we should talk about priorities again. I know I had a, contact from somebody on the, disc golf course who wanted to come to this meeting. Is that you folks? And so we're gonna do that in March.
Yeah.
Anything else I'm missing? We talked about several items for March meeting.
Right.
Are you wanna call it proposal or current, you wanna
A
call
little
it?
bit of presentation and,
Okay,
we introduce ourselves.
okay.
All right. All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about, parks, projects, and budget updates. Get anything, Mike, for us?
Not too much, so grants are in for the urban forestry project, waiting here on that, probably, possibly by the end of February. I signed a contract with, the landscape architect. We're gonna have a get-together probably, hoping in the next 2 weeks. I'm gonna invite the garden club people and probably notify you guys. And it's just gonna be a short, hopefully, just straightforward thing. We'll meet down there, kind of go over some ideas of what the vision is for the planners and the
What's
pitches.
that company name again, Mike?
We're gonna get together next month.
And then they'll take it from there. They'll bring us back something we can go over, and then hopefully after that, we'll have something they can build a drawing and budget off of, and then we'll know how big a can of money we need.
Did you say you're gonna try to do that next month?
No, I hope in the next 2 weeks. I'm waiting to hear from them. Name of the outfit is Neil Kiner, Second Nature.
Second nature.
And I think that's it. I gotta get, I'm putting in for the little $850 grant from DNRC for a tree. And I think I'm waiting to make sure we have our Tree City designation.
How about Tree City USA signs?
Now we have those.
Can we get those put up?
Sure, where do you want them?
Well, normally you're at the entrances of the town.
Well, we're gonna put up a new sign coming in town here this summer, right?
Which one are you talking about the speed limit sign?
No,
Slow down, entering Tree City USA.
No, the ones the chamber's doing.
Oh, the chamber signs?
Aren't those happening this
Yeah.
summer?
Yeah,
So.
those are wayfinding
Incorporated
signs.
Okay.
I don't know whether this would go on those same signs or not, but certainly I'll leave it to you, Mike,
We
to
can,
find
we
out.
can put a bear sign on it too.
Bear City
We had them
USA.
show for fishing.
Or,
We're not-
or if not,
Bulletin board.
don't we have one outside, or did we used to have one outside?
Yes, a bulletin board, that's good.
Anything else, Mike?
We even have a Tree City flag if you want to fly it.
Okay,
Tree City, Bear City, Bee City.
leave the flag.
No, I don't think so. I think that's all I have.
Okay,
Oh, I got one more.
okay.
The baseball guys are getting wound up again, and
Lined up?
we kicked in some help and some money for the new batting cages, and they're putting quite a bit of money into it, a lot of labor, and they want to know we have the project part of the budget. It's kind of undefined little pot of money, and they're looking for about $2,000 to help with some of the netting and stuff, and it'll be part of the baseball field, which is part of the city park.
Sure.
And I'm all for spending some of that money for that.
Mike, is that part of this current 2025 budget, or are you talking about for next year?
No, this is in the current budget.
Do you have the money for it?
So I'm inclined to,
Yeah, give
Help them
Make
out.
it so.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
So when we come to, next year's fiscal year budget, do you typically bring that to the board to look at? Do you give us a rundown of what your proposed
I
budget
think we
is?
did last year, yeah.
Did you? I don't
A
remember.
little bit. Can't
Okay.
remember.
Well, you
We
kind of
need-
knew,
we need
everybody,
to change some
this
stuff
kind of a
in the-
new
in
year.
the new budget coming up is, you know, I was kind of running off of the old budget, not really knowing
Sure.
kind of, and having seen a summer, and we added quite a few porta potties at parks this year,
And those add up.
And I kind of let Willie loose, and he burned up some money, which is good,
Yeah.
but I just gotta change, I gotta budget for the board.
Yep.
One thing worth mentioning, I will quantify it with, I do not think this is a very high likelihood, but the budget amendment we put in for the Rocky Fork property, in the original application that was put in, there was like $12,000 allocated for the whole tear down of that. I think the thinking was that our public works team would do most of the work, and it really wasn't, there wasn't remediation or rocks built in, because nobody'd gone through this before. It's closer to a $400,000 project. We know 75% of that is, we will get the budget amendment letter, like I said, within the next 30 days. The expectation is that we will get the 25% from the state. What is different about this portion of the project is the Plan B, Plan C. So on the acquisition of the property, we knew we weren't really obligating city funds because the property owner had agreed to take 75% if we got federal and no state money.
Right.
The remediation and leveling of it to get it to the point where we can talk about what we do next is 100% cost. There is no 25% that's not gonna happen. I do not think it is likely, but one of the things we will have to, and I think we will know within the next 3 months, we'll know before the next budget cycle comes up. And there is a Plan B between not getting state funds and Plan C, but there's a possibility that we may have to allocate some of those resort tax dollars, to help making sure that that gets demolished, and that'll be a priority project. So there's a low possibility that we may have to put some other projects on hold, or we only get to spend each dollar once. And so.
Right.
We have to come up with $100,000 to do that. I have a Plan A and I have a Plan B. Plan C is we fall back on our resort tax dollars, and if we do that, it will have an impact to our parks budget for the upcoming year. And I think it's worth mentioning that. I don't think it's real likely, but until the check clears, I have to keep that contingency
Sure.
in mind.
Thank you, Dave.
Smart. Now we're at the point of, Park Representative brief round robin, and please be brief. Want to start, Rod?
Nothing new on field.
Okay.
Well, I do have a question. Did you guys get the language cleaned up on, between the city and the school district?
It is in process and being done. You're talking about on the tennis courts?
Yeah.
It is, the attorneys have it, and it's being registered, so it is delegated and in process.
Okay. Good.
And the answer is the city really does own all of the park, including the tennis courts, and the
Yeah.
paperwork will soon reflect that.
Beth?
Well, so I'm just gonna use my time to quickly talk about volunteer hours.
Yep.
They are significant, and I would ask everybody that owns a park to, or that is an ambassador for the park. Sarah, you included, try to keep tabs on what you do to keep an eye on your park.
Your volunteer hours.
Volunteer hours.
I've
if
been
you-
really bad about doing that. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'm hoping to hit you guys up in July to summarize the year end, June 30th. I did get some hours from the ice rink, and I do think that they're probably not accurate. They said 470 hours. I know that that is a completely volunteer-run ice rink, and we are very fortunate to have them. But, you know, there's a lot of things that go into setting it up, maybe for a tournament. And those are the kinds of things that I wouldn't say are volunteer hours as much as they're user group hours. Like if you're doing something for your club,
Yeah.
that isn't, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think of that as volunteer hours where you just put in sweat equity for the park.
I agree
Now-
with you.
Right, so
Yeah.
setting that ice rink up is labor intensive. Putting water on it, Zamboni, shoveling, they do a ton of work, and I'm gonna say it's at least 200 to 300 hours. 470 might include people saying, oh yeah, I was here that entire weekend and all I did was, you know, shovel and fix the ice, but it was their winter carnival. So, but I know there's more hours out here, and especially for grants, we easily can show several hundred hours of volunteer time just on our parks. And I think that's amazing. And it goes a long way for saying what everybody does. So just don't forget the little things that you do, an hour here, an hour there.
How do you adopt a park?
You want to adopt a park? We'd love to have you adopt a park.
I mean, is that part of the process, is you adopt a park?
Well, we kind of, so Amy Hoy, when she was the,
Sure.
chair for the Parks Board, she was pretty religious about giving everybody no more than like 30 seconds, but every meeting, we had sort of park ownership to update what's going on there. And if there wasn't anything going on there, be quiet. And if there were things that needed attention, bring it up. And so we would go through and run through that and so I think it made us all learn more about all the parks too.
Yeah, I have no idea how many parks there are.
Well,
Like Van Dyke, I have.
17?
Our comprehensive master plan.
17, Ann.
After new is 17,
But some of them aren't really parks, but they're designated.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
still, I mean.
We have
we
we
need
have
to-
dedicated parks, we have parks that are not dedicated, we have dedicated parks that
yeah, I
aren't
can't
developed.
get 17.
There's a piece of ground that's labeled a park at the northeast corner of Diamond Links.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, Diamond Light, yeah.
well, no, it's supposed to be a park, it was part of the subdivision, and it is a park. It has a name.
Let's move on, guys.
Yep.
Mary Dale, do you have anything to report?
Yep. Yeah.
I am done.
Take care of a park.
Okay, how about you, Sarah?
Nope, all good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good meeting.
we're adjourned.
That'd be awesome.
Do you have a minute?
I do. I'm just
Thanks,
going
you
to-
guys. I'm gonna hang up.
Thank you for your input.
Yeah.